Hi there guys, here's a quick lesson on what fake news and a real disinformation campaign looks like. On May 27th, 2021, the CBC posted remains of 215 children found buried at former BC residential school, First Nation says. They say ground penetrating radar was used to locate remains. Sounds pretty terrible, doesn't it? The only problem is, none of this is true. Even the ground penetrating radar who made the discovery said at the time that this wasn't definitive proof. And she said we won't have definitive proof until excavations are carried out. Well, that has happened. And to this day, not a single body has been discovered. And in fact, no bodies found after spending $8 million searching for bodies at Kamloops residential school. My friends, the gravity and seriousness of this massive disinformation campaign must not go overlooked, because this lie led to over 100 church burnings all across the country. Here's an interactive map of all the churches that got burned as a result of people being pissed off from the disinformation campaign. And there's really no denying that this is the case, because in July of 2021, I went out into the streets of Vancouver to ask people if it was okay to burn churches as revenge for what happened. And 95% of the people I spoke with were fully okay with church burnings as an act of revenge for what they learned about. Have you heard a lot of the people are turning their anger on the church right now? 6 churches to date have been burned down on Indigenous land, burnt to the ground. What are your thoughts on that? People who are currently burning down Catholic churches today in response to what happened.
I understand their rage. I share that outrage. Yeah, I think they should disband the Catholic Church and give that money to anybody that they murdered and raped over the years.
What about the burning of the buildings, though? Do you condone that?
It's just symbolism.
So you're okay with the burning of the buildings?
They don't even use them.
I don't know, it's hard. I don't think there's any right answer.
To whether or not if it's wrong to burn down a church today?
I mean, I don't know. I can't speak to how someone else feels.
Obviously, when you have a church that has stolen children and buried them in unmarked graves, there's bound to be a reaction to that.
Anger at a building in response to the death of children. So I think that's justified.
That's justified?
I believe so.
Because they're pissed! Dude, 50,000 kids, this is a genocide country. We're built on fucking dead people.
But do you condone burning churches?
I could give a crap.
6 churches have just been burnt to the ground. Have you heard about that? Catholic, you condone or support burning churches?
Absolutely.
In today's society,
every single one of them down.
I don't think anyone was hurt in the burning down of churches. I think they're burning down a symbol that has oppressed them for years.
Right.
So I mean, I don't think the destruction of property is usually warranted, but I understand that there's anger that people are feeling and they're trying to express themselves.
Bunch of pedos! Everybody knows they're fucking pedos! Catholics are pedos!
They put Indigenous people in residential schools, man, and tortured them.
Yeah, the Catholic Church, along with the government.
You tell me whether that's right or not, man.
That's very, very wrong. But I don't think burning down churches today is going to help anything.
Burning down churches long time ago is a good move.
So you think all of them should be continued to be burned down?
No, not at all.
I'll go burn that one down right there.
People still feel like that to this day, and it's all based off of a lie. But I certainly couldn't say I didn't try to warn them. In June of 2021, I put this out: the truth about residential school mass graves. It wasn't genocide. Amplifies war on Christianity. Hundreds of bodies of Indigenous children have been recently discovered at burial sites near residential schools. And without any digging, both metaphorically or literally, the Canadian government and the MSM have labeled this a case of genocide. And the implications have many turning their hatred towards Christians in today's world. Then just a month later, in July of 2021, I released Canada Day Cancelled. These are the people who want the churches to burn, which you've just seen clips from. I followed that up with Kamloops mass graves debunked by academics as biggest fake news story in Canada. Mainstream media articles are now beginning to reveal what Press for Truth revealed a year ago, that the so-called mass graves that were reported to have been discovered in Canada was all just fake news. The coverage triggered protests which led to church burnings, amplifying the war on Christianity, all based on a lie that Canada is a systemically racist nation that needs to be destroyed so that their Marxist utopia can replace it. Then in July of 2022, I released this. The Pope's apology perpetuates the mass graves and genocide hoax. The Pope has apologized for something he didn't do, and also for something that hasn't even been proven to be true. Then a year later, in July of 2023, I released this. Unmarked graves investigation comes up empty. No criminal activity found. Surprise, surprise. Mounties say after a year-long investigation into potential unmarked graves detected in a Western Manitoba First Nation, they have not found any evidence pointing to criminal activities. Churches were burned, national holidays were created, and lies about Canada being systemically racist were perpetuated. I did a live stream on Rumble to cover the mass grave hoax, and then later last year I put out The Truth About Canada's National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. In Canada, September 30th is now known as the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, a full holiday in many provinces, where Canadians are asked to reflect on the truth of what happened at the residential schools. Claims of mass graves and bodies being discovered have reverberated across the nation, resulting in churches being burned to the ground and a national holiday being announced. Only none of it's true. The investigations have come up empty, with no bodies being found. And this new holiday is only perpetuating the lie that a massive genocide happened to Native children in Canada. And now, here we are, vindicated once again in May of 2024, as we see here from the Western Standard. The Department of Crown-Indigenous Relations has confirmed significant spending to try and uncover the heartbreaking truth of potential unmarked graves at the Indian residential schools in Kamloops, BC. However, despite the allocation of $7.9 million for this purpose, no remains have been discovered, and there has been no public disclosure of how the funds were utilized. Guys, this isn't only a hoax, it's a scam that's literally taking millions of dollars away from taxpayers. Taxpayers who, I will remind you, can barely afford to pay for their rent or their groceries these days. They are the ones who are left paying for the lie. So the next time the government or the mainstream media claim that people like me are spreading disinformation, just show them this video and the 8 other ones I've done exposing the mass graves residential school hoax. My friends, if you appreciate my efforts to continuously bring you this information, please check that top link in the description below to where you can find me on pressfortruth.ca/donate, especially if you've been watching my content over the last few years and you have yet to contribute. Please consider doing so today, because I can't do this work without your support. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that thumbs up button. Share this video with your friends and your family who you think need to see it the most. And stay tuned, guys. We're going to have more video reports coming soon, God willing. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.